like no, I don't think we should do away with the G League because to some degree it serves a purpose. Like I would like to see a study, or I guess I could do the research myself to see how many G League players actually end up having NBA careers, so that might be worth looking
Hmm.
into because, if it's only say
It don't seem like as many though. You don't
0.5%,
hear you don't
yeah,
hear a
that's what
lot
I'm
of them.
saying. Yeah, because I mean, even Mac McClung, he wins the slam dunk contest, and then he'll get like 10-day contracts here and there, and he doesn't even stay in the league, but he was the G League MVP.
Right.
So, I don't know. Like, should there be an incentive to whereas like the G League MVP or the All G League team, basically go into a pool for tryouts or something like that? Because that's what summer league is for to some degree. You know what I
Because I mean,
mean?
I fully agree with you though. Because I mean, they're a team. Because Brian Scalabrine, we all remember. Like, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me. Like,
Right.
as the last person on the roster. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there are so many. Just like Boston right now, we got. I think his name is Jordan Whitehead or Jordan Walsh or something like that. The
Oh yeah,
bald
Jordan
dude.
Walsh, yeah, from Arkansas, yeah.
We got the bald dude, and
That's
we
my
got
guy,
JD
man. Don't you
Davidson.
say nothing disrespectful.
No, there's no disrespect at all. I'm saying though, he could come on the. We got guys like him that's stuck on the minor league team, and guys like JD Davidson, who is an athletic freak. He can't even beat out Peyton Pritchard. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel what you're saying as far as like the G League. I like, where else are we gonna send these guys because they can't stay in college?
Right. Yeah,
So
you don't want to end up with a Brittany Griner situation, right?
no, where I we mean, got but at the people same going time, just like the overseas. NFL, it's just like niggas just go undrafted and you just part of the free agency pool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
but you could go to the CFL, you know what I mean? Like dudes
true,
are
the
going,
UFL,
y-
USFL,
yeah, you know what I
Arena
mean?
League.
So that's why you need something in place because there's what 440 or so NBA players, but then there's probably another, I don't know, 300, I'll just say, that have aspirations that went to college, whatever the case may be. And, injuries happen, whatever. Like, you need something to pull from to replenish your roster. You know what I mean? So I get why the G League exists, and I think the G League should exist. And that's why I said I'm for relegation from the standpoint of like I know in the Premier League, for example, the bottom three teams go down, and then the next league down, three teams come up to fill their place, and you just keep it going. To whereas with the G League, you could do that with the G League because as I bring you up, you're getting into the free agent pool. Now, obviously, the problem is if I'm saying DeMar DeRozan as a free agent, I'm probably not going to want to sign with this G League team. You know what I mean? Because now I'm at the end of my career. I'm looking for rings or whatever, But maybe if I'm a young dude, you know what I mean? If you're like to talk about Kyrie and how they won the title, but he wanted to be his own man or whatever. So maybe not somebody at Kyrie's level, but there might be somebody out there that's like, yeah, put me on that G League team. That's my squad now, or whatever. Like,
Hmm.
that could make an interesting storyline. But like I was saying, the problem is it all comes down to money, right? So you got these G League teams in Stockton, California, Sioux Falls, the middle of what is it, Fort Wayne. So we already complain of the NBA only talks about the Lakers or the Knicks or whoever. Like they ain't gonna talk about none of those.
I mean, definitely not. I mean, it just I guess it still depends on the brand because how many um how many G League teams are not in the same area as the parent company?
Well, there's a bunch. You know what I mean?
Really?
There's a bunch of them from what I remember. But I mean, you do have your like Toronto, like you have your Raptors 305 or whatever. You have your what's the one? Like the
I think
Stockton,
ours is in
California.
Maine.
Yeah, the Maine. Yep, it's in Maine. Yep. Delaware obviously feeds the 76ers,
Hmm.
so on and so forth. But there are a few that are like scattered around. Um, but that's the
how do you revamp the G League though? Like what's the first like three steps to revamp it to make it where it's like, all right, this is now more feasible for the league and our players.
so that's where Silver can help himself from the standpoint of he's already been talking about expansion and relocations and things like that. So you know what I mean. So take Delaware, put them in Kansas City. You know, take the Birmingham squad if you don't want to keep them in Birmingham. Put them in Louisville or Nashville or something like that. You just move them to a if you can, because obviously you got to have the infrastructure and logistics and all that kind of stuff. But there's cities out here besides Vegas and Seattle that have been wanting to get into NBA.
But shouldn't
You know,
Seattle get a team back? Shouldn't the
definitely
Supersonics
they will.
make a return?
They will. Like we already know that. Like Vegas and Seattle are going to be the two teams that we get in expansion. We already know that. Even though I rather move, say, the Pelicans
Mm.
to Seattle, and you know what I mean, move somebody else to
Move
Vegas
an
or whatever.
existing team rather than create another one.
Yeah, because I mean, like to Residente's point, you know what I mean. Like you're already watering it. You're already going to water it down with expansion, and for the fact that we got the G League and all this kind of stuff shows that I don't know if there's enough talent out there right now to commit to making another full NBA team that would be viable.
Because to my take on Lethal's question is, I mean, how can you spice up the G League other than having competitive pay? But then again, I mean, Matt McClung was just the MVP of the G League, because I was just like, bro, if they're that good, like if they're that good to light the G League on fire, they might as well go to the NBA.
Well,
But it's
there's
like,
there's probably I'm sure there's dudes in the G League that are very very good. You know what I mean? But maybe they got attitude problems. You know what I mean? Like maybe like they're hotheads or whatever, and the assumption is you're not Steph Curry talent level or whatever, so therefore I'm not going to waste the time dealing with your bullshit or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
so like that's a thing that could be a possibility as well. You know what I mean? But I mean, first and foremost, it just comes down to investment. Like, how much? Like, because I know like overtime elite is going away, for example. So so at what point does the G League, and I don't know how to word this, so I'm gonna just roll with it. Like does it take precedence over the WNBA, for example? Because like the NBA is funding the WNBA, and
Mm.
WNBA isn't necessarily bringing in big money or whatever. Is there even a
Right.
market for the G League to to do what we're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is there enough interest? And if so, why aren't we hearing about it? If not, why is that the case? So you have to do some kind of case study to figure out, is this even feasible? You know what I mean? What we're talking about.
Well, didn't the
You know,
NBA just get a $7 billion TV 10-year extension, just like how the NFL got going? Like but they should like $7 billion. So that right there alone is just revenue in the league itself. So it's like they got the money to
yeah.
make
But
this
the
shit
owners
happen.
want that money. The owners want that money, and then the
For
money,
sure,
that the owners ain't getting, the players want it.
for sure, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? So if you're like, I don't know, like we don't have to talk about like Giannis or LeBron James or anything like that. But if you're somebody like, say, I don't know, Chris Middleton, or like somebody lower level like a Anthony Simons, you ain't trying to give up none of that money. You know what I mean? Just like when you talk about the in-season tournament, the winning team gets 500,000 per player, the runner-up gets 250 per player. So, so when the Lakers won that shit, that part didn't matter to LeBron or Anthony Davis, but I bet you Max Christie appreciated it.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I
And
feel what you mean.
so that's where you have to do, I guess, do the study to see, is this something that people, do you think, you do surveys, you do your things, like, is this something that people would even support or want to see? Because I think, you know what I mean, like watching soccer, like it's a really big deal, but obviously we're talking about England and Europe where things are just different in general.
Mm-hmm.
That don't mean it would work here. Like I've always thought relegation should be a part of college football.
Okay.
Because like back in the day, you remember Boise beating Oklahoma and everything,
Mhm.
and ignorant fans that didn't know any better, they would say things like,
Shout
"Why
out to
don't
Ian
Boise?"
Johnson.
They would be like, "Why don't Boise just go to the Pac-12?" And it's like, well, because the Pac-12 has to accept them and give an invitation. Boise can't just show up and be like, "Yo, we here." Saying Fresh Prince of Bel-Air style. You
For
know what I
You know what
sure.
I'm
mean?
saying?
They got
Names,
to
Swag.
be invited. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at it, looking at the SEC, for example, right? Like a team like Vanderbilt,
Mm.
who is bad every year with they make the occasional bowl game, but they probably
They
make
produce
two
Shout
a
out
bowl
few
Jay
games
Cutler.
in
players.
a yeah. How long ago was that? You know what I
A
mean?
week.
Like, you know what I mean? But they make two bowl games in the course of a decade or whatever. So you know what I mean? Instead of leeching off the SEC and getting all that money, how about we bump them down, bring in Tulane or whatever? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Tulane
somebody
over
within.
Vanderbilt.
Tulane was good
Hey,
this year, maybe.
yeah, Tulane beat USC and Caleb Williams just last year.
But
Not
see,
this past season,
the
but the year
last
before.
time I heard of Tulane, the last time Tulane was on anybody's like, hey, this is Tulane, is when Matt Forte was at running back.
Well, I need you.
I'm just saying, like, let's be real, bro. Niggas won't talk about Tulane for real.
No. But I'm just saying. 2 years ago, they lost one game and they beat Caleb Williams in a bowl game. Put up 46 on USC and beat them. This past year, they made their conference championship game. They lost. The only loss before that was to Ole Miss, and their quarterback was hurt. So in that game, and then they lost to Tulane at the end of the season in their bowl. I mean, in their conference championship game. So at worst, they were 12-2 this year.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. But Vanderbilt, on the other hand, is out here winning like 3-4 games a year. You know what I mean? So why not? Like, if you had something in place, like, okay. So for the NBA, let me go back to the NBA real quick before I let you in, Cups. But like in the NBA, guess what? If you have relegation, you might solve tanking
Okay.
because everybody's trying to fight to keep their place.
But don't the lottery come into effect with the tanking part within the NBA?
Yes, you know what I mean, and that's what it's all about. Just like that thing I sent y'all in the chat earlier, where the Raptors in '96, the Raptors won the lottery, but since they were an expansion team, the rule was you can't get the number one draft pick for 3 years, your first 3 years, and Allen Iverson went number one that year.
That's so weird, bro.
You know what I'm saying? They had to pick number two because they had Allen Iverson right in their lap, but because of that agreement, they couldn't even draft him.
And I guess that's because
Is
So they
that an
ended up
advantage
drafting.
or is that a disadvantage? Like, how does that, like, you know what I'm saying? What is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, as a fan, and then as somebody that's like a coach or part of the organization, would you look at that as a good thing or a
Well,
bad thing?
I mean, if you're a Toronto Raptor fan, it's absolutely disgusting because you ended up getting Marcus Camby instead. But if I'm a NBA owner, think about it like this. This is just my opinion. I don't have any.
For
This is
sure.
just the way that I'm looking at it. If I'm an NBA owner, you're asking me to split up whatever with these two new expansion teams. So now I'm already making less money, because I got to split it two more ways. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna let you get Allen Iverson too.
damn.
You know what I mean?
I feel what you mean. I feel what
You
you
know what I
mean.
mean? So like it's one of those things where like, just like, now let me switch back to college football. Just like SMU is going to be in the ACC this year. You
Southern
know what I mean?
Methodist, Atlantic
Yes.
Coast Conference.
Yes. Um, but this is the thing. But this is the thing, right? Florida State and Clemson, at the very least, there's 7 schools total, but they've all been talking about leaving the ACC. So SMU is like, hey, let us in, and y'all don't even got to give us TV money for the first 9 years.
For sure.
You know what I
We just want
mean?
that
So,
recognition.
and now that's more money that you're giving to the original ACC schools to include Florida State and Clemson, and maybe they pipe down for a little bit, for a couple of years or whatever. Cal and Stanford, I think, is on 7 years where they're only getting half of it, or whatever. Like
Mhm.
Nebraska was under the same thing when they joined the Big Ten. They didn't get the money for like the first 7 years or something like that. So like you have those things in place, so you might as well let relegation happen, because now we're in a place where the Big Ten's making 75 million per team. Notre Dame's going to be making about 65 million by itself. You got the SEC is around 63 million per team, but then you got the Big 12 at 31.7, thinking that they can compete with these schools that are doubling what they're getting.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why they're talking about that whole naming right thing that I sent earlier, where they're trying to find ways to get extra money so they can make up the gap between them and the Big Ten and SEC.
But does teams like Navy and Army and all these like schools that we know, like you only heard of one player come from what Navy, and that was like
Keenan Reynolds. That nigga was sweet as a bitch.
and Roger Staubach came from
I'm
where?
gay.
Army,
From
you
Navy,
know,
he was Navy as well.
Navy too. So it's like you don't
Yeah,
really, but you
and don't
don't like
forget,
in
don't forget
today.
basketball. Don't forget the Admiral.
In today's league, we have yet to have anybody come from Army, Navy,
That's because they run the triple option.
and
No,
but that's
somebody they got defensive players that come through. Like Air Force had a safety get drafted this year. You know,
really I ain't
and
pay.
and
I
and,
ain't
and,
see it.
and,
I think they did too.
and there was like another. There was a. Oh, there was somebody else in the last 10 years that came from. But I get your point. Like, you know what I
You know what I'm
mean?
saying? Like it's
Yeah.
just like these teams are teams that and Navy and Army get they once they play each other. It's like everybody got to watch that game. You know what I'm
All right,
saying?
but check this out though. I can't even disagree with what you just said, right? But here's where I'll play a little devil's advocate.
We
Say you're a school like Memphis, days of Penny Hardaway, Derrick Rose, so
Hold
on
on,
and so
school like
forth.
who you blanked out? You
School
said
like Memphis,
Memphis?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
you had like Penny Hardaway, Derrick Rose, Lorenzen Wright, rest in peace. You got Antonio Gibson just came through there a few years ago or whatever the case may be. But now, what I'm saying, I put you in the ACC or whatever, right? And guess what Memphis got? They got FedEx money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like there are teams out there that could be viable if given the opportunity, but we'll never know because they'll never get the opportunity.
like
Well,
no. You,
I guess that was my question too. Is like when we talk about relegation, would it be like a season by season thing, or
Yeah,
would
it's
it be
every
like,
year.
like a 3 year? You know what I'm saying? Or
that's what I
everybody's
say because
eligible every year?
because every program will be different. You know what I'm saying? I feel
Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying we always judge the college coaches off of you know what I'm saying with give them 3 years, you know what I'm saying? First year, depending on your name, you know what I'm saying, your background, where you came from,
Well,
determines
not
a
no
lot of
more.
stuff.
We got NIL now.
Well,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
now,
Ain't no 3 years.
well, yeah, now. But see, that's what I'm saying. Back then it was like, 3 years develop, you know what I'm saying? Now it's just like, all right, what you do in your first year matters more
Well,
than
that's what I'm saying. Colorado would have got bumped, bro. They won one game the year before this year, And then as soon as Dion showed up, they were a ranked team. They started the season a ranked team.
Yeah, but you know why they started a ranked
And
team.
they
They didn't
I'm
started
start.
just
for
They
saying
and they
didn't. They
though.
didn't
started for
start ranked because they deserve to be ranked.
but
But
they
I'm
started
saying though.
hot though. They what it one they was 4-0, right?
No, they
They
was
were
ranked
three and
before they
zero,
played a snap, bro.
But I'm just saying though,
which
they
goes
started
back to
out.
my point about preseason rankings.
But I'm saying though, even with relegation, like so, bro? They were unranked one year, and then without playing a snap, they were ranked. So it's like, how would you even? And then even though they still had a poor performance, you would just relegate them down, relegate them up, or be like, all right, well, we gonna give them a chance to earn their non-relegation or their place where they at.
And, and see, and that's where you would have to have the discussion because I know, like going back to the soccer thing, it's a year to year thing. Whoever finishes the last three this year are going down. You know what I mean? And then you have your first place team from the lower division comes up, and then you have other teams play like a little mini tournament, to get up in that spot. But you could just cap it at two and say, you know what I mean, two last place teams out, two first teams in, and you just keep it on a rotating schedule. Like I don't know how it would work in college because you got recruiting and all that kind of stuff like that, even though that's starting to go out the window with the NIL thing. But as far as the NBA goes, or whatever, professional league, like you have these things in place to where the G League champion would just go into the pool of NBA free agents. And saying you're not telling them, yo, I need y'all to go out here and win 45 games or whatever the case may be. It's just like win more games than the Wizards. You know what I'm saying? Win more games than the Pistons and you can stay. And then obviously you build, you know what I mean, from year to year or whatever the case may be, and maybe like I said, depending on where the team is located, maybe you introduce new fans to the game, organically, whereas like I said, if I put a team in Kansas City, now people in Kansas City have more incentive potentially to watch the NBA versus like what's the closest team to Kansas City?
I mean, they
You know,
Chiefs heads all day long though. Before they
I
go,
know.
before they got what Royals and
Yeah, the Kansas City Royals, yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
I mean,
So
you got to start somewhere though. Like, you know what I mean? Like at one point there was just the Chicago Bears. You know what I mean? And then the Bulls came along, or you had the Cubs or whatever, and then the Bulls came along.
I
So I
feel you.
mean, like, so there's going to be a initial struggle. You know what I mean? But that's why like the experts have to sit down and talk. I'm not an expert, but that's why the experts need to sit down and talk and say, 10 years from now, what does this look like?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because there's going to be a rough patch. There's going to be, I mean, hell, like in Baltimore, we had a CFL team. And then once we got word that the Browns were willing to come, we were like, go back to Canada.
We we had our arena football team. I don't know if we still got them, but we had
Yeah, we
one.
definitely had an arena football
You
team.
know what I'm
Yeah.
It
saying?
was horribly managed though, of
For
course.
sure, it was.
It was just weird. We did get Greg Hardy on the squad though. We
For
did
sure.
get Greg Hardy on the
For
squad.
sure.
You
You
know
know
what
what
I'm
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
saying? For
The
sure.
Richmond Roughnecks, you feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but that's what I'm saying though. So like that's the problem. The problem isn't that, like, I think Birmingham and Austin are two of your bigger G League cities. And like everybody, a lot of everybody else is in these small towns like Stockton, which gets you close to San Francisco. You got your Sioux Falls, you got your Fort Wayne, that's close to the Pacers or whatever, so on and so forth. So that's where you would have to figure it out, like, because I doubt you would want the Indiana Pacers and Fort Wayne in the same league or whatever.
Yeah, I feel you though.
So
So I
that's where
mean,
you would have to figure it out and get these other teams. Because like we were talking about Richmond the other day, right? And you know, Richmond, Virginia is just kind of in a bad space from the standpoint of, there's teams in Washington and there's teams in Carolina.
for
You know what
sure.
I mean? And so it's like would it be feasible to put a team in Virginia and with
And Maryland
fan
and
bases
Tennessee.
already established? Yeah, like already established around you. Would there be a way to work? Just like I brought up Louisville the other day. Louisville could be an expansion target, but is that too close to the Pacers to where like they ain't gonna be effective, or like you're asking Pacer fans, to not be Pacer fans and adopt this team, this local team or whatever.
Yeah, I think Vegas and Seattle is just like what other where else and why else would you put a professional sports team other than
Well, Silver brought up international, right? And
of
so I
course.
sent that. So I sent that thing to y'all about how the Wizards and Heat they're going to play in Mexico City this year, and that could be an option. Because I was looking at this the other day because we talked about this a little bit on Sports Reports Disorder. But like Mexico City to Boston is only like a 4 hour flight. Like 2 hour flight to San Antonio. So it's not as far as you would think. Because when I first heard it, when I first thought about Mexico City, I was like, man, that's far.
Bro,
Who does that benefit though? Like it
bro.
don't benefit us in the league. It don't benefit the players to have these international team. Now I don't
Especially when they got
mind.
color restrictions,
You know what I'm
bro.
saying? Right.
We can't even wear certain shit.
I don't mind the international games, like
Right.
our teams going out to places and playing there, like playing in London, playing in Germany. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Playing in Mexico City, that's sweet. Like, play a game in Hawaii for all I care. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sweet. But
Which is still the
don't
United States, by the way.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, though. You know what I'm saying? Just like somewhere where we be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? That's tough. Like Japan, for instance. Like
Yeah.
let's if we're gonna do international, let's do international games for our teams, so the international people can be fans of the same teams out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Rather
that's why
than
and that's why I don't like it because like in the
right.
NBA, for example, you know what I mean, like
We have an
playing in the
international team.
we do, but guess what? They got to pay those international taxes too. You know what I'm saying? The players pay those international. So they already pay taxes for every state that they play in. You know what I mean? And they're paying Canadian taxes. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So if you add a Mexico team in there, guess what? They paying Mexican taxes. You
But
know,
dog,
um,
we
yeah,
are about to be my bad, but it's like we are about to live in the era. We are about to be in a time, the golden age, to where we have an NFL team across the pond, and we're gonna have a professional football team in maybe London.
yeah. And you got to figure out how does that work. You know what I mean? Do they never get
It's
Monday Night
not
Football?
gonna work. That it won't like it's impossible for it to work, bro. It's just like what you gonna do? You gonna make a schedule for that international team, and you gonna have all them everybody from our league fly out there to London
Well,
for them.
I would imagine, and I'm not saying that this is smart business, but I was trying to figure this out. Me and Raph were trying to figure out how this would work. You know what I mean? So, like, say for example, every year in the NFL, certain divisions play certain divisions. So
Yeah.
like say London has to play the AFC West. Maybe you just fly London over here for 2 weeks. They play if they're the road games, they play the Raiders and the Broncos back to back weeks. Or maybe you could do it where they play the Broncos on Sunday and then play the Raiders on Thursday for Thursday night football. Send them
Man,
back, send them back across the water. They play some games. Later in the season, you have Kansas City and the Chargers go over. Not that you want to do not that you need to do another Thursday night football game or whatever, but you know what I mean. Play the Chiefs. Chargers play their game that week. Get right on the plane after. Go to London. Hang out for a week. Acclimate. Play London and come back. You know what I mean. But with the NBA, it's trickier because with the NBA, you have what? Like you could have 3, 4 games within a week. So like for it to work in the NBA, in my opinion, you need to have like 4 or 5 international teams. You probably need to have London, Paris, Madrid, whoever, so that way I could send the Lakers and Clippers over there.
Why not
You know,
call those teams up though?
That's what I'm saying.
They got the. If you were talking about relegation, don't those places have
because they're
professional
different
teams?
because they're different leagues ran by their countries, and they have different rules. Like Luca and them was playing in them leagues when they were like
So
14
why infringe on those markets though? That's just me. Why infringe on those markets?
because you
I
want
mean,
the
of course
money.
we can. Well, of course we can. Like we can. There's nothing stopping us per se. But it's
Right,
like
right.
they got their own talent over there. It's like what we gonna ship. We gonna outsource work over there. But it's not even really outsourcing because we still send an American.
But no, you could probably do what you're talking about though. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think that's anywhere near on the table because, I don't even think we're going to get the announcement for Seattle and Vegas until after next season.
Mhm.
As I think that's when we'll get the official, we're expanding, we're adding 2 teams in these markets, and then maybe 2027 is like their first draft or whatever. Um, because I know Seattle and Vegas both already have arenas too. You know what I mean? And but then like I said, you got other places like Kansas City has an arena. You know, how far do you want to expand as far as the number of actual teams in the league? That's the next question. You know
Well,
what
we
I
got
mean?
too
Like, are
many
we are we
teams
trying to go
as
to?
it is now.
I mean, people say that. I mean, I think I'm fine with where it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, you could make that argument if you want it to look like the 80s or whatever, where, you had teams that had, Larry Bird, Mikhail Parrish, Magic, Worthy, Kareem, whatever. So if you want teams like that, then we probably got too many teams. But there's so much talent nowadays, you know what I mean, that if you do contract it or take teams away, then instead of your Jordan Walshes and people that you brought up earlier, you know what I mean, like maybe we're talking about Jaden Hardy's and Daniel Gaffords or whoever that
I
don't
don't
have
know.
a team, and that'll
I
make the
feel
G League better.
we don't need to eliminate no teams because
I feel like it's way too much talent for us to be trying to consolidate teams because every team. I'm not gonna say every team can compete, but it's like I said, the question I asked earlier, it's like of all the teams that were bad, which ones that were healthy were not young? Like they were like the veteran led teams, they good.
Oh, by the way, real quick, Porzingis playing, right?
Tonight is
Yeah,
over.
he well, I don't know if actually let me take that back. Let me take that back. I don't know. Let me take that back. I don't know if he's playing, but he's available.
Okay.
Uh, but no, but like I mean, but going back to the original point, right? Like if your goal is to enhance competition, because they've been trying to do all these ideas, find a team for tanking, but you got to be able to prove they were tanking. You know, forfeit a draft pick. But again, how do you prove that somebody's tanking? Unless it's very obvious. You know what I mean? Like if a team goes on a 8-game losing streak, maybe you were just a bad team and you weren't tanking.
Yeah. I mean,
But how can you sell that to your fans and make sure they know that? Because most fans would have been like, what I'm saying, you got the ones or the media, the people would be like, hey, these guys are they doing this for the high pick.
do you think San
But I don't
Antonio
think
fans
fans I don't think
they were
fans have a problem with tanking though, depending on like
Who's
we have
available?
like so Cups doesn't have a problem with tanking because
oh,
when are the Celtics going to be in a position to tank? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't affect Cups directly per se. You know what I mean? Like now, if you're looking at a team like say last year, Dallas had Kyrie and Luca. They were a game behind OKC with like 4 games left. They just needed OKC to lose once, and they needed to win, and they would have gotten to play in, and OKC wouldn't have. But Dallas decided with 2 games left that I'm gonna sit Kyrie, and they played Luca for like the first quarter of the first game, sat him the rest of the game, and didn't play him at all the second game. Now I can say you were taking. You know
Or
what I mean? But even then, they ended up with like the number 10 or 11 pick, so it still didn't even really work out for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whereas Portland sat Dame down the last 10 games and said he had like some kind of, I want to say it was like a oblique injury or something like that. And they ended up with the number 3 pick, but I can't prove, hey, he's really hurt or he's injured and they're exaggerating. I can't really prove that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, I think that if you were a Portland fan, you're like, yeah, tank, so we can get this pick or whatever. Like, whereas if you're another team, like if you were a, say, Dallas Maverick fan or OKC fan, you're like, hey, what's Portland doing over there?
My
Because you
dog,
want the
Buckeye
pick.
Moody. Tapping
What up,
into the
Moody?
motherfucking
What
Hotbox.
up, y'all? What up?
You know what I mean? But that's why I brought up the relegation, is because I just think that the teams are going to compete to keep their spot. You know what I mean? So tanking doesn't matter because you can tank, but then you'll just be out the league for a year.
I still think, man, Moody. Have you heard about the anti tank point system where it's like once you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs,
Uh-huh.
the wins that you accumulate improve your draft position.
Nah, I ain't even really looked into it.
But like, yeah, so as far as like the whole tanking thing, I feel like that'll be that instead of like relegation or you know what I'm saying, stuff
But
like
that was
that.
more
Like,
towards football, right?
yeah, because NBA got the lottery, so you know what I'm saying.
Right,
But
right, right.
as far as the NFL, yeah, once you mathematically eliminate it, it's like, all right, now we can mail it in. It's like, nah. So if you mail it in, you're gonna lose draft position. You know what I'm saying? So I still feel like, yeah, it'll give play, but then again, it begs the question, like if Pittsburgh or if Atlanta was to start the season like 4-6, what incentive would Kirk Cousins have to go out there and be like, all right, well, I'm about to ball out for a draft position. We already got a quarterback behind me. Maybe I can ball out and try and get a higher position to get a wide receiver. Like, we already got weapons.
I mean, your incentive is I just gave you $180 million. Get your ass out on that field
Yeah,
and
you
play.
gotta win some. You gotta win some games at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like you gotta look at it like this. Worst case scenario for Kirk Cousins, right? To start the season off, let's say 4-6. You know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario, starting off 4-6, and the fans sitting there screaming for Penix. As a coach, you're paying one nigga some shitload of money, and you got another nigga who, right now, bro, he seemed like, you know what I'm saying, if you put him on the field, good things gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's about your job at that point. What you willing to risk?
But see,
You
but
know what
if
I'm saying?
but let's say Atlanta does that, right? They play Penix or whatever and bench Kirk Cousins. How do I prove they're tanking? He's a rookie that has never played in the NFL before.
If
So
he
if they get
start
their
winning,
ass whooped for 3 weeks, like I can't say that they're tanking. Like this is a dude that is just coming into the league.
that's true. But you can't. But you.
But they're the only team, except for maybe, like I said, Pittsburgh, who got that excuse. Like, you're not ready to say that, oh, the Browns bad, so they going to Jameis Winston No, you already know,
But
bro.
you
Like,
know
all
it
right.
don't work like that because
But
we can't even have a conversation. If I say tonight, yo, Jason Tatum did this, you're gonna say, but what about Luca? But what about this? But what about that? So like if I say, hey, I benched my quarterback because we were bad, then you're gonna say, but you ain't do that when Denver benched theirs, or you know what I mean? Like you like
No,
it
but
just
I'm
becomes
saying though, but we already know, like Cleveland, like bruh, if Deshaun Watson is not playing well, they not gonna mail it in and put in Jameis Winston. They only gonna put Jameis Winston in if Deshaun Watson get hurt.
mm-hmm.
Right.
Like if
I mean,
Atlanta
they,
is
they
playing
can't they, they
bad,
can't do that anyway because I mean, what they paying him? So you know, what I'm saying
Right,
he got to ride it out
right.
regardless.
Yeah, you gonna play to the last
yeah,
possible minute.
they gonna have to ride it out regardless
Like you
at
ain't
the end
sitting
of the day.
until week 16.
yeah, for sure. Like or like I say, around the time that they get mathematically eliminated, but then it's like, all right, we still need you to go out here and perform. Like we now we
But
need now we playing for draft position. Like
his contract is 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So like I
and they're
said,
still holding them accountable. It's like you don't want to play. Okay, now niggas can say we tanking, and now it could be we can hold you accountable for that shit. You fucking up the draft position. You fucking up our points to advance the team.
but are you willing to risk Penix going out there? You know what I'm saying, and potentially hurting himself just
We
because.
wouldn't do that though
You know what I'm
because we're
saying?
not trying to mail it in. We not that we that's not what we doing. We sticking to the plan. We had Kirk Cousins. We it was 18 games in the season. We not ready to give up after 10 or 11.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I think it's just tough to implement just based on you got to have guidelines and criteria that it's like if I told you like if you we talk about load management, right? So if the report comes out that I got a knee injury or whatever, you know what I mean? So when the NBA gets in trouble is their injuries will be like knee soreness and it's like, "Oh, your knee sore?" It's not like broken kneecap or whatever. But but you can't tell me the severity of what my injury is.
For
Yeah.
Like
sure.
that's an assumption on your part. So that's the same thing with tanking in the NFL. Like I have to assume that you're taking because to your point, if Kirk Cousins is playing bad and we're 4-6, and I put Penix in, that's not giving up. He was already playing bad.
I mean, I'm not saying it looked bad. I'm not saying it's tanking either, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I'm
right.
just saying it's certain situations like we already bro. Nobody has ever just shelved their quarterback. Like not even like even Eli Manning. Eli Manning played out every season, bro. He played out every season, every game, and he won good every year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there would be like just based off the patterns, like we already know if you playing bad, and we know that after a certain point you need to still win games in order to improve your draft position. Why would you sit somebody?
And that
What
still
incentive
kind
would
of
you have
goes
to do
against
that?
the whole purpose. Like I'm gonna give the team with 5 wins a draft pick and not the team with 2 wins.
I'm just saying though, it'll get would
like
Moody.
like
Do you think teams could probably like? How would the philosophy be that towards the end of the season, while we mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, now we need to play to get a higher? Like, do you think teams want to have the best drafts position or the chance to pick the best player in the draft? Like, is that a good look for a team?
I think it's gonna be split because I mean the younger dudes might want to, but the veterans not gonna care about that.
Like bringing in get having the opportunity to bring in another talented college player. Like, and again, the we already know the best draft picks are typically quarterback. I mean, not the best. I'm sorry, the highest ones.
But
You know what I'm saying?
but you still it's still a swing or miss. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because we still had a draft where like nigga None of these niggas panned out. You know what I'm saying? Christian Ponder, EJ Manuel, you know what I'm saying? Darius Hayward Bay, you know what I'm saying? Vinny Curry, Aaron Curry, you know what I'm saying? Like Taylor Mays. Like it's a lot of niggas that we
Any
thought was
Ohio
like
State quarterback.
Any
you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like it's a swing. You know what I'm saying? But we do get blessed with great talent though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's like that. It's 50-50. You know what I'm
But see, I
saying?
think the
Like
problem, but I think the problem is that when you look across sports, it seems to always be the same teams, though. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
Like,
I don't think about this. I don't think like the NFL this especially starting this year is gonna be like the same teams. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody talking
well,
about
maybe
like
not the
how
NFL per se, but definitely the NBA. Like, there's
probably so
always
with the NBA.
Washington, Detroit, Atlanta. You know what I mean? Portland's going to be there for the next 5 years.
because they young, they got to build, bro. Warriors was there. Warriors was there picking.
Yeah, but the Warriors were competitive though. Like the Pistons out here losing by 50.
Yeah, I'll be right. I'll be right back. Now.
Uh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference.
but but
Is that
but
like
but
nobody's
that's
saying
not.
you can't lose. You know what I
But
mean? But
ownership plays a factor into that. Then you got like niggas not really drafting the right players like they supposed to. Like think about like you said, like people don't be drafting who they supposed to be, like who they should. Like the Eagles didn't draft Justin Jefferson; they took Rager. Like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
same with the NBA. Like you have times where like teams have a chance to draft
you
certain
take Trey Young
players.
instead of Luca.
You know, I mean, so like we gotta hold them niggas accountable. You know what I'm saying? It starts with them.
Hold on, just a brief interjection. Um, how am I getting old? Are we getting old? How old is T.Y. Hilton? The wide receiver Eugene Hilton, a high 3-star prospect in the 2025 class, and the son of Colts Pro Bowl wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, has announced his commitment to the University of Wisconsin.
Let's go.
I would say
Let's
I would say he at least 36 or 37.
That mean 17, bro. Like,
Yeah, think about it. Tyreek Hill came into the league with a baby mama.
yeah, bro. So that mean, well, 20 years old, having a kid at 20, not bad.
come on now,
If it,
bro.
bro,
Yeah,
bro,
that's
was
what I'm
20
Come
years
on
old,
now,
saying.
bro.
Like,
37.
Come on
Yeah,
now, bro.
I mean, all
yeah.
right.
So if you had a kid at 20 and you played for
Ty not that. Ty, I think Ty
15
like 30.
years, you're 35. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Ty is 35 right now. 34, 35.
Like,
I'm
how old
not
is
saying.
Carmelo?
Melo is like 30 set,
Because you know he got
37.
it. His kid about to be going to college next year.
Yeah,
So I mean, it happens. You know, we be out here getting it in.
for sure. Damn, that's all right though. Eugene Hilton,
Let's get it, bro. Wisconsin, let's go.
that's all right, man.
Chris Ballard love them the Badgers, boy. He love the Badgers. You know what I'm saying?
But you
Yeah,
know,
man.
but that's kind of the thing. Cause like you know, you had Philadelphia do the whole like trust the process thing, and like they told you up front that we tanking. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole process was we gonna tank until we think we got enough good players that we don't need to tank no more.
All right, 2-5. I'm gonna ask you a question right now. Who would you rather have, Kyle Anderson or Ben Simmons?
I would say Kyle Anderson just because of mental makeup. But you know, the only reason I would pick Ben Simmons is because of his age.
Hmm. Do you think Ben Simmons is ever going to have a redemption season? Is Ben Simmons cooked in the league?
Wait. Add to this. Who who has a better chance of coming back and having a successful career? Ben Simmons or Lonzo Ball?
I would say Ben Simmons, just because with Lonzo, it's like an extremity. You know what I'm saying? It's his knee. And he done already lost like 2, 3 years now. You know what I mean? So he's still young, so you hope that maybe he has like that middle of Derrick Rose's career. Whereas with Ben Simmons, like if nothing else, he showed you he was an elite defender,
Hmm.
in that he could set up an offense at 6'10". So like with the new NBA, the way that we play basketball now, that's always going to be valuable and worth taking a chance on.
Brooklyn Nets, Mikal Bridges. How close are they to contending in the Week East?
They're not even on the radar of contending. Like if like you can't even put enough letters together to spell contend for how far they
Mm.
are. Like they might got like the T and the N, one of the
Damn.
N's, not even both N's.
One of
You know
them.
what I mean?
That's
Like
up.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
don't think they have draft picks either. Like that's the problem is that they don't even have draft picks, which is why I'm shocked that I understand they really like Mikal Bridges and everything, but they had a chance to get Jalen Green and 2 or 3 picks. I would have looked at that, because they gave up their picks. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah, they
picks
don't
that they
pick
got
again
back,
until
and
2025.
yeah, and then the picks that they gave up or that they got back, like for KD or whoever, like they're basically like the next worst team besides the Lakers with draft picks.
Bro, they have one pick in 2025. They don't have another first round pick until 2027. And that's gonna be a projected 1 through 8 pick. And then they got two first rounds in 2027.
And then I think they go another few years without a draft pick, without a first
They
round
pick in
pick, if I
28,
remember correctly.
29. They got three first rounds in 29.
Okay. But you gotta hope that those teams are gonna be bad by the time that year comes.
Yeah.
You know
Because
what I mean?
the
Because it
first
doesn't it doesn't
round,
matter if they're number 18.
yeah. Because in 27 they got the first round from Philly, and then they got a first round from Phoenix, and then they got their own first round in 2028, and in 2029 they got a first round from Phoenix. They got their own, and then they got a first round from Dallas.
Yeah, so like Dallas is still probably gonna have Luca by then. So they're probably only gonna be but so bad. Even if they're down, they're only gonna be but so bad.
Hmm.
Phoenix could be bad because, you figure KD will retire by then, or at least be close to it. Devin Booker might ask for a trade by then once Durant is done. So Phoenix could be bad, and they'll probably trade Booker so they could get more picks. You know, and I forgot Philly. If they still got Embiid and Maxey, you figure like they're at least 40 to close to 45 wins.
Right.
So it just depends. But for me, Mikal Bridges isn't that type of player. Like he's not um a Kobe type dude, or he's not even like a Jason Tatum type dude per se. Like his defense is his calling card. And when he went to Brooklyn, we saw like, oh wow, he could play offense too. But then this year,
Hmm.
with expectations, it didn't look so good.
And what happened to Cam Thomas, man?
He don't play defense.
I thought he was gonna be something.
He'll get you 40. I mean, he might though. I mean, maybe he's on the wrong team. You know what I mean? He
We need
scored he
niggas. We
scored
need
40 a
we
few
need more
times.
Myers. We need more Boris Diaws. We need more Barbosas in the league. We need more Jeremy Lin's. We need
Well,
more
we
guys.
fucked it up. We fucked it up because everybody wanted to be Jordan, nobody wanted to be Pippen. Pippen got 6 of those things too.
For
You know what I'm
sure.
saying?
People don't need
But
like
we
Pip
but
and Pippen don't need be he don't need be, you know what I'm saying? It's
but
always
Scottie
Jordan got
Pippen
the
is the
six.
insult. Like we say, yo, who's Batman, who's Robin, right? But then like you look at Boston, it'll be like Tatum's the Jordan and Brown is the Pippen, or Luca's the Jordan and Kyrie's the Pippen, and it's an insult, like you know what I mean, to some people, to a lot of these dudes, because they all want to be the man and not part of the team.
All right,
And that's
before we
why
get out of
you
here,
gotta take your hat off to Jason Tatum for sacrificing in a lot of ways, you know, what he has during this playoff run.
because yeah, I agree though. So before we get out of here, man, 2-5, what do you think is going to take for Orlando and Paulo? Because I hear what you were saying. You know what I'm saying about him being the only offense, but it's just like he's still taking like 17. I think he took like 17 shots a game. If he's the
We'll see.
offense, like
We'll see. Like so look at, like, I mean, obviously these two players are nothing alike, but so look at Steph Curry, right?
mhm.
Early when the Warriors were winning championships, you had your Barbosas, you had Jashawn Livingston's, Iguodala could control the ball, Draymond could control the ball. So they saved Steph Curry's legs to where he could still be the same player today that we see. Whereas if he
Mhm.
was if he didn't have those type of players around him, he would probably have a little bit more wear and tear on him, and he wouldn't be able to perform the way that he is right now. So
That's what
when
I'm
you look
saying.
at somebody like Paulo, you got Jalen Suggs, who is turning himself into a 3-point shooter, but I don't know if you
Mhm.
want him running your offense, every play. You don't want him to be your traditional point guard or whatever. Markel Fultz came into the league as a scorer that is learning how to play point guard because of his injuries and the slow start that he had.
Mhm.
You got Cole Anthony, who is basically a dunker that's like 6'2". So I don't know if he's an effective point guard. But when you look at the rest of Orlando's lineup, Jonathan Isaac ain't bringing the ball up regularly. Wendell Carter plays the center. Franz Wagner, is a shooter that probably isn't good enough to do all that. So it's literally like Paulo is in that LeBron position where the offense, like early LeBron, I'm talking about the first time in Cleveland, where like the offense has to go through you. Like you make everything happen. Everybody else gets what they get and are good because of what you're bringing to the table more than it is anything that they're doing. So he needs another capable ball handler that, somebody like on the, like a Mike Conley type dude. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need to come in and score 24 points or whatever, but I just need you to slow us down when we moving too fast. I need you to understand the pace of the game when we're going too slow and when it's time to speed it up. What I'm saying? Versus relying on a 6'10" dude that's not necessarily skinny like Jason Tatum. Like Paulo's a little thicker and whatever, like he's a stout dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
Versus
feel you might not be as nimble.
being, yeah, not being as nimble. So, and yo, hold on, real talk. I didn't even know Xavier Tillman was like 25. Like, what I'm saying? I be looking at this
Yeah,
man and he
bro.
looked like one of my uncles or something.
Zay Tillman do look old, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so that's what Orlando needs. Or they need dudes that can spot. They need some housers. You know what I mean? They
Okay.
need some housers or some Tim Hardaways before this season, Tim Hardaway. They need
So
guys that
what team that the Celtics played in their playoff run is the team that is legitly ready, one player, one move, really to to make their own run next year.
So base it off of the teams that they played, I would still argue Miami because we got to remember that Jimmy Butler was hurt. So you get Jimmy Butler back, you still got Bam. Maybe you could trade Hero for another defender or, like somebody that's a little bit more reliable. Milwaukee had Giannis hurt. Dame got hurt in that series. I mean, they didn't play Boston, obviously, but you know what I mean? Like Milwaukee's right there. They just need to retool certain positions. Now going to Cleveland, the problem with Cleveland is they're not going to get that player, whoever that is, because nobody wants to go to Cleveland. You know what I mean? Because they got like I don't think Donovan and Mitchell like Cleveland's problem is every team to some degree has moments where you have players that just don't fit well together. But Cleveland has that in the backcourt and in the front court because Garland and Mitchell don't fit well together, and Jared Allen and Mobley don't fit together.
But which one would you rather
So
have?
I would rather have Mobley and Mitchell.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But that's the good news for Cleveland is that maybe you could move the other one and get something better in there. You know what I mean? Like you can
I
move
take
Garland
Jared.
since he's younger. You know what I mean? Get somebody in there. Like you can move either Allen or Mobley, whichever one. I would say Mobley would get you more back. You know what I
What if
mean? But I
we
would probably want to keep Mobley.
man? What if we swapped out Horford by bringing back KP into Horford position full time, and then bringing in Jared Allen? Come on, bruh.
That could work. You know what I mean? He'd be a healthy borderline upgrade of Robert Williams.
Straight up. You know what I'm saying? We already know what Robert Williams brought to the floor when he was able to get on the floor. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
But the problem is Cleveland needs more shooting.
we
You know
can
what I
get
mean? They need
Peyton Pritchard, and
they
because
need
I
to get
think
rid
Pritchard
of
would be able to defer to Donovan. You say what happened?
they need to get rid of Levert.
Oh yeah, Karis.
Yeah, they need to get rid of him. They probably need to get rid of Okoro.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where like Cleveland, if you keep Donovan Mitchell, because that's going to be the question, is he going to be one of those dudes that gets the extension or gets the max and then be like the next season want to trade or whatever? If you
Well,
can
that's what I was about to
convince,
say. It sounds like you talking about them blowing it up and just starting back over with Donovan and Mobley. I feel like Donovan Mitchell is trying to win right now. Like,
yeah, that's probably true.
are you gonna risk that though? Like, can you? Or,
But
well, would you sign him and be like, all right, we gonna build around you? And he like, bro, I'm not trying to build.
well, just going off of different reports that I've read in the
Mm-hmm.
last few weeks, it sounds like he's definitely the man in that building.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like um he's looked at as you are Cleveland in that building. You know what I mean? So it just depends. What's more important to him? Um, winning in the way that you're talking about, or is he in that phase still where he feels like he can be the catalyst to the winning?
Bro, like 26, ain't he? 27.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah, he's still young. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So if you got Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, you keep Max Strus, now you just get a big man in there that can rebound and help out Mobley down there. You get yourself either another shooter, like bringing a vet like Klay Thompson or something. I doubt he would go to Cleveland, but somebody like that, and trade Garland and get back whatever you can get for Garland because I think Garland's what 21, 22 maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you should be able to get some prime player for Garland. Depending on who's interested. Like if you're the Clippers, for example, could that be a sign and trade? Like, let me sign and trade Paul George and get Garland back.
Hmm.
Because word on the street is Harden wants out of there. You know
For
what I mean?
sure.
So like, Harden is a free agent that can leave. You know what I mean?
Kawhi and
And
Garland. How would that work?
I mean, Kawhi don't work with anybody. His knees don't
That's
work.
what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? But also Cleveland. I mean, I'm sorry, the Clippers need something exciting because they're opening that new building this year. And if you lose Paul George and James Harden, I don't know if Kawhi is exciting enough or there enough, to entice your fans to fill up this new arena.
I'm not
You still
saying
got Russ?
do
Russ
they?
probably gone too.
They might have
He
blow
ain't
that
getting
shit
no
up, bro.
younger.
They about to blow
Russ
that
ain't
shit all
like
up.
Russ probably close to 35.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Harden, like what Russ and Harden are probably either the same age or a year apart. And like I said, it's already being reported that Harden wants out. Paul George, we still getting reports saying that him and the Clippers aren't on the same page, like money wise. So like, is Russ going to be able at this stage in his career? Can I put Russ back into the starting lineup and get something close to the Russ I would want in my starting lineup?
Man, but I just feel like I want Russ to like I need Russ to get still if before he walk away, he gotta walk away with a ring. At least
He
one,
ain't
bro.
gonna get it there.
He can come. He can come to Beantown.
But see, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like,
He could go to the Pacers.
could he go to the Heat?
He could go to the Heat too
With Jimmy Butler.
with Jimmy B for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm the Pacers, I don't want him
Why not?
because I feel like there's probably better options that are younger than him, but
But
still not
I
too
feel like
old
they
to fit
need
with my group.
that extra veteran would be clutch, bro.
It would, but I don't know if he's it.
For that team, I think so.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he could very well be. I mean, they definitely play a style that he would love to be a part of.
For sure.
So that's a thing. You know what I mean? But like I said, I just don't know. Like, is he? If he goes to Indiana, is he an injury waiting to happen?
I don't know. I don't think you don't gotta start. You don't gotta start Russ though. You know what I'm saying?
No,
You could
you
treat him
don't.
like
You don't.
you could treat him like Jamal Crawford, you know what I'm saying? And he can still give you 20, you know what I'm saying? Or he can still give you 18 and still run the floor, you know what I'm
He doing
saying?
that
But he's
now.
probably, but he's probably looking for a team that he can win a championship on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Indiana's been trying to trade Miles Turner for like the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know. Like if I'm Russ, and like hypothetically, I could go play for Indiana, or I can go play for Denver. You know what I'm saying? I could go play for. I'm trying to think of another team that made play like I could go play for the Knicks.
Mm.
You
Russ
know
in
what I
New
mean?
York
Like,
would that would be like a Russ in New York would be dope.
Damn, Russell Westbrook, go to the
you know what I
Knicks.
mean? Like I could go play for. I could go to Philly.
He could go to Philly.
What about Russ in
You know what I
Chicago?
No.
And
Like,
Chicago made the play in. That's
see,
what
I
I was
see, see,
talking
see.
about.
I thought. Well, when he went to the Clippers, or I'm sorry, let me back up. When he went to the Lakers, that would have been the time for him to go to the Bulls.
Mm.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because like right now, the Bulls are nowhere close to a championship. They're talking about trading Levine. DeRozan's going to be another year older, And I mean, Kobe, they got Kobe White, but outside of that, what do the Bulls have that, like, if I add Russell Westbrook to the Bulls, and let's just hypothetically, if I bring Russell Westbrook to the Bulls and everything else remains the same, aren't I just in the play-in again?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like with Philly, you already know Tobias Harris's money is coming off the book. So I can get Russell Westbrook and I got money to do other things. You know what I mean?
So what
Like
about the Wolves? Would that be the
the
would that be
Wolves could
the
work.
the
The,
ideal
the
landing spot for him?
the Wolves could work, but I still say no because
He'll take
looking
some. He'll
at it,
take the. He could take the load off Ant, far as
that's because
like
you're thinking of
running the
Russ from
floor.
3 years ago. We talking about Russ
I mean,
today. He still can't shoot.
I don't need him to shoot. I just need him to drive to the basket, wear the defense out. Draw the inside game. Let saying help create some space for Ant and keep the ball out of his hand. Saying every possession so he can. Saying he can work the floor a little better. Saying because him always controlling the ball. Saying it's not always gonna be good. We don't
I
need
would
him to get too.
almost say, I would almost say instead of Minnesota, I would almost say go back to OKC.
Mm,
I like that.
not like that too, for
You know what I
sure.
mean? What I'm saying? But, I don't know, word on the street though, OKC might try to draft Jalen Williams' brother.
Really.
Yeah, that might be a thing.
That
Because
shit
the
crazy.
draft is in less than 2 weeks now, and it's a 2-day event now.
Where's Bronny going? 2-5.
I don't know. They saying that Phoenix and LA are the only teams that he was going to work out for. Like I think that if,
Derek
if
White.
I think in a perfect world, I think he doesn't get drafted and he just ends up on the Lakers as an undrafted free agent.
Mm.
Don't waste a draft spot on this nigga when you know
Yeah,
he
don't
went
waste a draft spot on him. You don't need to.
like nobody's
Just like
checking for him.
yeah, you know what I mean? And that's where we are though. You know what I mean? Like
So
he's a good enough shooter to get a spot, like he could develop into a good enough defender, but he's also small. You know what I mean? Like and the NBA is phasing away from like what was it? I think we were down to like one or two players in the league that were 6'2" or shorter or something like that.
mm,
You know what I mean? So like he already got that going against them too. You know what I mean? But like I think he'll be better than, people think. Like I don't think he's gonna be an all-star, or anything like that, but I don't think he's just a flat out bum that won't be able to play in the league at all. Like I mean, look at some of the dudes that we see in these games. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
man.
I mean, I don't know, like looking around the league or whatever, like, like there's a lot of dudes that you question why they in the NBA. Like if Amir Coffee is in the NBA, why can't Bronny be?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a
Like,
fair point.
like you could I mean, look, if I could get Alex Caruso out of Bronny, you know what I'm saying? Why not? Alex Caruso in the league
Yeah.
and making defensive teams and stuff.
I mean, it's a slight chance that what I'm saying, like
If Patrick
he could
Beverly in the
be.
league, why can't Bronny be?
It's a slight chance he could be a poor man's Drew Holiday. How about that?
But he's small though. That's the problem. Drew Holiday's still 6'4".
He'll pan out, bro. He'll pan out.
No, he will. I think he will, but I just don't think that I just don't think that I would waste a draft pick on him. Like maybe I invite him to my summer league team, and you know what I mean. Especially if I'm a smaller team, like that nobody ever talks about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That writes itself. Like I start getting some media attention. You know, and then if he has a chance to make the team, let's say he gets the summer league, balls out. I put him on my roster. Now I got reason to get attention now.
For sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously that ain't guaranteed, but what is it? Low risk, high reward. If I'm
Damn,
somebody like,
man.
say, even if I'm somebody like Utah,
Take a flyer on Bronny.
yeah, why not?
Or Sacramento.
No, I don't think Sacramento needs him. Like, but why not? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? If you're not like the Lakers, the Knicks, Clippers, like the top five teams that we generally talk about all the time, why not? Like, what you got to lose? At worst, you just cut them and move on, just like you would any
And
other
at
player,
best, you can bring his father with you.
For sure.
and potentially bring his father with you. You know what I mean? Because like if you're Phoenix,
That's that. If I was a small market team, that's what I would do. I would draft him and try to like get LeBron
or,
to come to the squad too.
or
You
you
know,
know what, Lethal? You just brought up something a few minutes ago, right? Why not Indiana?
true shit.
You know what I'm saying? Small market. You're already a playoff team, so you're not like it's not like you're hinging on him like we need him to solve the puzzle or we need him to come in day one ready to rock and roll or whatever. You just need somebody that potentially gets you minutes behind Halliburton.
For
And
sure.
Halliburton definitely better than D'Lo.
And then you got LeBron on the squad, so it's like LeBron gonna get y'all, you know what I'm saying, get y'all a little couple little jewelry joints, you know what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? And the Pacers have Nimhard. So it's like not only do I have Halliburton that potentially could teach this dude how to be a point guard or whatever, like, but I also have Nimhard who we just saw come out of nowhere and make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So maybe Nimhard has, not saying that Bronny doesn't have it, but maybe Nimhard has a certain work ethic that would be good for Bronny to be around too.
Come on, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As somebody that wasn't on the radar when this season started. And by the end of that playoff series, once Halliburton got hurt, like people were like, yo, is somebody going to pay this dude one day?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so there's that. There's Indiana. While we were talking earlier, you know what I'm saying? Why not Orlando?
Damn. Braun, Paulo, Wagner, and Cole Anthony.
Yeah, why not? Trade Jalen Suggs or somebody, or, like, one of those guards got to go. You know what I mean? At some point, anyway. You got Cole Anthony, Suggs, you know, Markel Fultz or whatever. Like, like you already got all these guards that are basically the same player anyway. You know what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is bring him to summer league. Everything else will just fall into place. He'll either earn a spot or another team will see him and want to maybe give him a 10-day contract. But the problem with Bronny is, am I allowed, that's operative word, am I allowed to put him in the G League?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm like, hey, let me send Bronny down to the G League for 2 months or whatever, get
His
some
dad will
development.
veto the fuck
Is
out that
clutch
shit.
right. Just clutch step in. You know what I'm saying? Just clutch step in and say, y'all can keep on walking.
You know what I'm
No.
saying? You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? And then you're like, oh well, you know what I mean? Like, or like, great teams and teams that are successful do stuff like this all the time. So like, you know, if I'm a team, I ain't saying that like Boston should do it, but you know what I mean. But like, hey, why not Denver? You know what I mean. You don't need them to
LeBron gonna go
contribute
to
right
Denver.
away. You don't need to you don't need to contribute right away. You know what I'm saying? I just need you. I just need to see flashes that show me you may be worth an investment.
Hmm.
The
And like I
nigga
said, if it
6'1".
and if
Why is
nothing
it like
else,
a
right?
problem that he's 6'1" though? Like, ain't it some we seen shorter players, you know what I'm saying, in the league still be, you know what I'm saying, successful?
6'1" is
Because
basically Austin Eckler. 6'1", they're like 6'1", you basically Tyreek Cohen out that bitch. Like
because at this point, like in the NBA, there are series where certain players become unplayable. You know what I mean? Like in the bubble, when Houston played the Lakers, they were basically starting Russell Westbrook at center. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you can just play yourself out of a series. Like Tim Hardaway, we were just talking about it, right? He's the best shooter on Dallas a couple weeks ago. You
hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like some series I just can't play you. But if you're 6'1", not only could I possibly not play you, but now the defense is hunting for you. Like if I'm playing against Boston, for example, we switching those matchups until I can get Jalen Brown on you.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
You
Like
definitely
even if I get Derek White on you, Derek White's what, 6'4", 6'5"? You know what I'm saying? Even if I can
going
get
nowhere.
Derek White on you, you done. I don't care how good of a defender you are. You give it up 4 or 5 inches. Pause.
And he still can jump with
You know
it.
what I mean?
Hey yo.
You know what I'm saying?
With
You
that
know what
being
I
said,
mean? I'm just saying.
yeah, and he jumping over you too. Yeah, Derek
Like
White definitely.
just like Cups, right? All year long, people like me have been telling Cups that Luca ain't no defender, right? And then Cups come back and say, "Yo, Luca's like the second best post defender in the league." And I'm like, "That's cool, but the motherfucker is a guard." You know what I'm saying? That don't do me no good if I need you to chase Jason Tatum. You know
For
what I'm saying?
sure.
Like that.
I
If
feel
I
you.
put you on Al Horford, we in there. You know what I'm saying? But I might need you to chase Drew Holiday around.
Damn, bro, no, for real, real quick, no. Why did they have to make up the fucking blow by percentage just for Luca? That's fucking crazy, bro.
That's just what it is, bro. Like, but see, that's why you
I
gotta
never
have
heard
this.
nobody say that he got a crazy blow by stat. I never heard that shit, but that's crazy, bro.
But that's why if Dallas brought in Bronny, right? You know what I'm saying? And he got to the point of playing. You know what I'm saying? I could have Bronny chase Derek White around, and I can move Luca. You know what I mean? Like the problem is Boston just shoot all these threes, so nobody's really in the post anyway. You know what I mean? But if I'm playing against the Knicks, I could put Luca on Julius Randle potentially instead of trying to make him chase Jalen Brunson.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? But with Boston, it's just a bad matchup because you don't have anybody on Dallas that you can't hide Luca. Like the Warriors hide Steph Curry. You know what I mean? Like Steph Curry ain't out here guarding. Like he might guard Kyrie because they like the same size or whatever. But like I don't know if Steph is guarding Jamal Murray.
Mm.
Like you would have put Clay. I mean, obviously Clay's old now, but you'd have put Clay on Jamal Murray, and you would have told Steph, you know, guard Reggie Jackson or something, or you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think who's Denver's starting shooting guard right now, but KCP. You go guard KCP.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's where like somebody like Bronny could help you in those situations, but you know what I mean. But being 6'1" is just a disadvantage because most point guards are 6'4" and up. I mean, hell, SGA is a point guard. He's 6'6".
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like There ain't many Mike Conleys and Trey Youngs out here no more.
For sure. Even John Morant, well, he like 6'4", ain't it?
Something like that. 6'3" maybe, yeah. He ain't no 6'1". You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem is that if you're Bronny, and Bronny is not necessarily he's athletic, but he's not athletic in that way. Or else he would be John Morant, or he would be a top pick. You know what I mean? If he had that type of athleticism. So you're
John
six
Morant
one.
6'2".
Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? But that's why I brought up Patrick Beverly. You know what I mean? Because Patrick Beverly's little like that, but Patrick Beverly got heart and tenacity. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? But I also imagine that Bronny would be a better shooter than Patrick Beverly.
Mm.
And Anthony Edwards is 6'4".
Yeah.
But
See what I'm
yeah,
saying?
man,
But you ain't putting Bronny on Anthony Edwards.
hell no, hell no.
So yeah.
Yeah, man.
Goddamn, we don't reach that hour and a half mark in this here hot box. We about to get these brooms out. Not too long, man. It's been a
I don't know.
long
They
time
down. They
coming.
down by 15 right now.
Hey, look. I'm really not worried about that because we still got a whole another half after this. So
All right.
it's been great. It's been great. You know what I'm saying? Trusting the process. I've been waiting. And
Right.
now I'm so proud of Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown for not letting the media boost any of their egos and drive a wedge through the team, regardless of what anybody say. They still they still command the same amount of. They say it's one ball, but they still get up just about the ballpark same amount of shots. I'm glad that we've found a way to make it work. I'm glad that the chemistry has finally come together, and I can't wait to run it back next year.
Yeah, and this is the thing, real quick, before we get out of here. That's the thing, right?
So,
Looking at Boston's roster, right? Tatum's what, 26.
mhm,
Brown is 27. Derek White's 26 or 27.
mhm,
Hauser is a rookie. You know, Pritchard is probably only 23 or 24.
yeah,
Porzingis is only like 28.
yeah,
Xavier Tillman, we talked about, is 25, even though, saying that man looked like the pursuit of happiness.
I'm dead.
You know, uh, saying we got there's somebody I'm forgetting right now too that I can't, but
Drew,
basically,
he on the older
well,
side.
he's 34. Yeah, he's 34. Horford, I think, just turned 38. So those are your two old guys, but mostly everybody else is still in their 20s. So it's like, or actually, let me ask you this before we get out of here. This was something that I
Hmm.
asked Logical last night. Um, so when we look back 10 years from now,
Hmm.
how do we describe this year's Boston team?
As a team that smacked everybody that we played. They said that for one, we how many games we won this season? Like 50 something, 60 something?
64.
64
Yeah, they went
games.
64 and 18. Yeah.
64 games. We cruised at the end of the season.
Uh huh.
They said we had a cakewalk in the playoffs, but then we smashed a team that was very dangerous.
Uh huh.
That beat OKC and they beat the
Minnesota.
Wolves.
Yeah.
So I'm
Like,
who what what else
do
what
you
else
think
do
we're
we
going
have
to
to do?
view them as a do you think we're going to view them as an all-time great,
Bro, we
or do they
swept
need or
these,
do they need to
bro.
win, or do they need to win, like if they win a championship next year, that we can have, like, you know what I mean, they'll enter the
Oh yeah,
chat,
we're a great team.
or do you think they're like they could already be considered to be in the chat?
Man, we a great team. But Denver don't want to jump. Milwaukee don't want to jump. We don't talk about Milwaukee as a great team. I mean, Denver, but
Well, that's
if
because
we,
we know, as Adam would say, as LAR Way would say, we know that if Kyrie and Harden didn't get hurt, Milwaukee wouldn't have that title.
yeah,
They were up 2-0 until Giannis took out Kyrie's knee. And then Harden got hurt, missed like 3 games, didn't come back until game 6 and couldn't even hobble up the court. And then Durant's foot was, his shoe was too big because if
fuck,
he had on his
stepped on
regular
the
size
line.
shoe, if he had on his regular size shoe, they win that series on that shot.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I
So I
mean?
should
So
have
like
killed
we
y'all niggas.
so that's why we can't call Milwaukee a great team or all-time great team because they had that circumstance on their hands, where there was a team better than you that just got hurt.
That's true. Like I said, bro, there's nothing wrong with the Mavericks, and we smacked these niggas, bro.
Yeah. And
So
then
I
last
think we're a
question,
great
then
team.
last
So
question, is Dallas here to stay or were they just the team that got hot this year?
I think Luka's here to stay. I think Luka's here to stay. And if Kyrie, like they just need to run it back with with just better players. Like they need role players. You're not gonna win no game
They
if your third leading scorer for the entire regular season goes over 7 in every playoff game he played thus far. Like
they
no
they they
point.
need they need to practice and work on plays for Lively and Gafford because this is where we get into the whole like we done with the 80s. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But this would have been the perfect time, for Lively and or Gafford to put their back up against Jason Tatum and say, I'm gonna wear you down on this end. I'm gonna post you up and wear you down on this end and use my height advantage. And now when the fourth quarter come, them legs are a little bit heavy.
yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah.
As far as the Mavericks, I mean, like I said, maybe like a Brandon Ingram or something like that. They just need, yeah, like, and I don't like was Kyrie just having an uncharacteristic series, like, cause where was he? So it's
I mean,
like
he's still got these Boston demons. Like you would like to think that at this stage in his career, crowds can't bother him, but there's obviously something there.
I don't know what's going on with Kyrie, but I mean, if he would have performed and if Tim Hardaway would have performed, who knows what would have happened? I mean, the first game was a blowout, but the second and third game they won that bad.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I
you
mean
know,
Dallas up by 18 right now, like they
anything
walked
can
down a
happen.
21-point lead the other day. So
Anything
yeah,
can
we'll
happen,
see.
but yeah, I'm about to say we definitely gonna find out. But look, man, we about to goddamn roll the windows down in this here hot box. We about to let this smoke out, man. I'm Styrofoam Rob. This has been Cups in the Game. You already know I have my dog with me. One half of Sports Reports as ordered. Mike Will 25 representing in the motherfucking building, and you know I have my dog, the illegitimate 401 Oracle, Nap Nation, Bleed Blue, for the shoe, Jay Lethal in the motherfucking building. I'm Styrofoam Ralph. You can catch the motherfucking hot box every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. It is currently Friday, so we catch y'all back here on Sunday night. Love y'all so much. Smoke with us next time.
Yes, sir. Peace.